Jesse Lee Herndon, our friend who saved you from transcription hell, and as far as I know, continues to save you.
Yeah. I actually have two of them was going to send up, but then I thought about it, and mostly I send them up. You put your corrections on them and send them back to me, and then I watch the videos again, reading the transcriptions and correcting things, and then I post them. I could just skip sending them to you till after I've corrected them, and then you'll just have, here's the transcript as posted. I'm pretty sure this is as accurate as it's going to get.
That would be good.
I mean, that way you don't have to waste time. You don't have to waste time going, what did we talk about? I can't remember.
Right. Yeah, it's usually it'll be a phrase that Jesse's just not familiar with. It's a Canadian thing or whatever it is, or I'm not a guy who enunciates his words as carefully as he could. And it's like, yeah, if Dave Sim is saying that, it would sound a lot like that, but that's not what Dave Sim was saying. And yeah, that's much easier to correct that way. Jesse was asking about Vichy Dupree, the character in Church and State 1, one of the Countess's many foes. Was he a reference to anyone in particular? The way he was drawn was very distinct, and his accent seemed to be akin to the McGrew brothers. Yes, that's one of those. I was setting up something that I ended up not having room for a real call for, because the McGrew brothers are Onliu, I believe, was the nationality. And this was what I was developing, was the idea that the Onliu are all Yosemite Sam. So you have an entire country of Yosemite Sam, and that would have made a very funny two-issue digression if I had ever gone there. That's what I was setting up with that. Yeah, anybody who's from Onliu sounds like Yosemite Sam, and that would have been a lot of fun. Just skimming through like Duckburg or whatever it is, where everybody's really the same sort of thing, and what an entire country full of Yosemite Sams would be like. Although your average Canadian would think that's what Americans have been like since Donald Trump was the president.
Well, I know that the introduction to Church and State 1 is, you did say that, your plan was, you're out of Est, you're not going back, and the story went, yeah, no, we're going back right now.
Yeah. It was, I hadn't realized how much thinking I had done about it. Mostly subconsciously or unconsciously, depending on how you are on those two terms, where because I thought the church was going to be a major component in high society and would be half of the book. There'd be the political half, and then there'd be the religious half. I didn't realize how much stuff was fermenting while I was working on the political side, going, okay, when I get to the religious side, this is going to be in there, this is going to be in there. And it had to be, yes, it was either that or it had to be Soraya in the Sephron Empire. But that was that's a different kind of religious setup. That's more Holy Roman Empire, which wasn't what I was doing in ES, which was far more of a balance between sort of the religious side in decline and the political side in the ascendancy. So if you're writing that unconsciously, which I was, then you try and go somewhere else and do that. It's like, no, we have to go back to ES and get to the other side of the upper city where the church is, and go from there.
And that's, I mean, thinking back on High Society, there are shades of the church side coming out, like the two bishops that Service gets drunk to find out what's going on with the duck statue. And
well, that was good. I forgot that. Yes, that was fun.
I mean, the whole albatross thing. I mean, it was leading somewhere, and it's leading somewhere, and all of a sudden, Service gets elected prime minister, and it doesn't go anywhere. And I was like, well, that's kind of weird. And then the callback is in Church and State when Powers shows up with the albatross statue, the actual one, and goes, here, now you're Pope of the Unified Church, just kill this lady.
Right. Yeah, that was just inexperience at the time, thinking that I would be able to do that in a non-contrived way in a 500-page graphic novel. Again, because nobody had really done a 500-page graphic novel to that point. So I think everybody would have the same assumption that I did. 500 pages, you can do anything in 500 pages. You can do War and Peace in 500 pages. Until you're actually trying to do the 500 pages, and you go, well, it's either shoehorning all of the political stuff in, which means it's not going to be very authentic. It's not going to seem like genuine politics. It's going to seem like Spider-Man running for president or whatever it is, where, okay, this is a Spider-Man story, so, we're going to have 8 panels in the issue where he's actually running for president or whatever. And it's like, no, if I'm going to do politics, I'm going to do the constituencies, and I'm going to do the different electoral districts and how they vote for their local candidates, because that was what was interesting to me. Politics is interesting, and it's also funny. It's very easy to make it funny, because if you're not a big fan of politics, it does seem really weird the way the whole thing is done. Sort of the same thing that I've just finished doing with the Green Dante, Green Virgil, where Green Virgil dissociates into multiple Virgils so that he can decide how to do more ethical, charitable giving by treating himself as a parliamentary democracy, a Westminster-style parliamentary democracy. And as I said in it, it's like, he probably should have monitored a few Westminster-style parliamentary democracies to see what their success rate is, and actually coming to conclusions before having this really bizarre way of dealing with his own life. It's I don't know how much of the Brexit news coverage you're following, but it's like, there you go. That's where the Westminster model breaks down. Is a narrow 52% to 48% plurality, and then, okay, how are we going to make this happen? And okay, let the speeches begin, and begin, and begin, and begin.
I read Time, and when Brexit comes up, I chuckle to myself like, I remember when they had the vote, I was watching the news after the next day, and there were people who voted Leave who didn't think they'd win, and it's like, well, then why did you vote Leave? Like, oh, well, it was a protest vote. No, it was a real vote. A protest vote is saying, I'm writing in Mickey Mouse because I don't like any of the candidates. But when Mickey Mouse wins, now you have a cartoon fictional mouse as your leader.
Right. Yeah, we're probably not too far away from that one either. Sean